Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Is the screen visible to you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So today we'll discuss this tripping mechanism of the relay. So, as you know, the fact that CT and PT, they will get the information from, let us suppose, the transmission line. These are actually the system transducers. So, the main use of CT and PT is to get the information from this transmission line or whatever wherever we have installed. And the main function of the relay is to detect the inception of the fault. So the main function of the relay is to detect the inception of fault. So, and the other rest of the tripping task, that is the isolation and of the faulty part from the rest of the system, it is done by the auxiliary relay or the circuit breaker. So we have one more relay which is known as the auxiliary relay, and then we have the circuit breaker. So what the CT in PT is doing, it is getting the information. These are the system transducers and giving the information to the relay, main relay. This relay will detect the inception of the fault, and after that, the isolation and other things is done by another relay, which is known as the auxiliary relay. So, since the relay does the function of sensing and detection, and so its speed increases, and some relay may operate instantaneously depending upon the magnitude of the, you can say, the flowing current. So the question arises that what is the function of this auxiliary relay? Now, let us consider a small system. And let us suppose that we have the CT here and PT which is connected. And this is the relay. And you can say there are two coils within the relay. One is known as the current coil and second one is known as the potential coil. So first one is the current coil of the relay, that is, it is connected to the current coil of the relay. And second one is the potential, it is connected, that is PT is connected to the potential coil of the relay. Let it be represented by, the relay is represented by R. This is the main relay. And this is the main relay. And whenever any abnormal condition or fault occurs, suppose in this line, whenever any fault occurs in this line, depending upon the magnitude of the current, whether it depends on whether the relay is a single input or the multiple input relay. Like for a directional kind of the relay, we are using the multiple input. That is because we want the angle also. So a relay operates and it gives the signal to the circuit breaker or further auxiliary relay. So this circuit is known as, you can say that this circuit is known as the power circuit. This circuit is known as the power circuit. So now what the power circuit, the signal from the power circuit is given to one another circuit, which is known as the control circuit. The signal is given to that control circuit. Now, what is there in the control circuit? In the control circuit, we will have the, suppose we have the auxiliary relay. We have the auxiliary relay. So this control circuit is powered by 220 volt DC, or depending upon that what power requirements are there. So it is powered by 220 volt DC, or depending upon what power requirements are there. Now, what happens? The information from this relay is given to this, you can say, the information from the relay is should be given to the auxiliary relay. So there are two types of contacts which are available in the relay. One contact is known as these are actually the normally open contacts. So we have normally open contacts and normally closed contacts, which means that when there is then we are not we do not want the circuit, we do not want the closed circuit. Then in that very case, what happens, there are normally open contacts, and when the fault is there in the system and we want the circuit to be closed, then in that very case it will close. So these are normally open contacts and are normally closed contacts. Normally closed contacts, that these are in actually closed position, and whenever the fault occurs in the system, these are it opens in such a way so that the circuit will be complete, and we can accordingly this trip coil, the signal is given to the trip coil. Now let us suppose that we have this normally, since it is a normally open contact, so whenever a fault occurs in the system, so it will fault occurs in the system, the signal from R is given to this and as a result the normally open contact, it will get closed. Now we have another kind of relay, which is, let us suppose the number of this relay is 86, and this is the auxiliary relay. This is the auxiliary relay. So what happens, whenever the fault occurs in the system, and the relay will give the information to this and as a result to the control circuit, and as a result the normally open circuit, it becomes closed, and as a result the relay number 86 get actuated. It is an auxiliary relay. So the auxiliary relay is represented by let us suppose that when this auxiliary relay get operated, then in that very case it is in contact of an auxiliary relay, and as a result this get closed, and as a result the signal will be given to the trip coil of the circuit breaker, and as a result the signal will be given to the trip coil of the circuit breaker, and this trip coil, this is represented by the number, circuit breaker is represented by the number 52. So this is how the control circuit and this whole of the circuit works. So what happens whenever the fault occurs in the system? We have the CT and the PT. These are the this transducer, system transducers. It will give the information to the relay, that is the main relay, and this circuit is known as the power circuit. It will give this relay will give the information to the this control circuit. Control circuit consists of the auxiliary relay and the trip coil of the circuit breaker. And as a result, what happens, when the signal is given to this particular this control circuit, the normally open contacts, it becomes closed, and as a result our auxiliary relay get activated, and the circuit get closed, and as a result it will give the signal to the provide the this you can say the power to the trip coil of the circuit breaker, and as a result it starts operating. So it will operate and our circuit breakers will work like that. So this is about the trip mechanism of the relay. So I can explain the trip mechanism by this diagram. Is there any doubt in that? Is it okay? Are you able to get it? Is there any doubt in that?
No, sir.
Okay. So there are two kind of circuits. We have the power circuit and we have the control circuit, and generally we have the normally open contacts, and which moves to the normally closed contact. Now, if you take the case of this relay, if you suppose, I can explain you that what is the whole of the mechanism, which can be explained by this example. This you can have the CT and PT. You will have the relay, then you will have the trip output, and these are actually the trip contacts. So these are normally open contacts. And what happens if you take the case of this this mechanism, when this is closed, this trip contact is closed, in that very case the whole of this circuit get energized, and as a result the trip coil and the latch will be removed, and as a result it comes out, the contacts will come out, and as a result the circuit breaker will be actuated, any fault in the system. So the circuit breaker is in the closed position by the force of the spring, and the energy is stored in the spring during the closing operation. And in order to, when we want this when we want to trip this circuit breaker, it is necessary to release that latch either manually or by energizing this trip coil of the circuit breaker. So the trip battery which is provided here, it supplies the power to this trip coil, and trip battery supplies energy for this operation, and relay output contact is wired in such a way. It is wired in the series with the trip battery. That is obvious from this you can say that this diagram. So when the relay operates, the trip coil it gets energized, and the circuit breaker part it's contacting. As a result, whenever the fault occurs, the isolated this you can say that the circuit breaker will operate and the faulty section can be isolated. So this is how it works, and whole of the process of the circuit breaker we can discuss, because in the last syllabus at last we have this topic related to the circuit breaker, but are different types of the circuit breakers that we can discuss. Now this is the basic mechanism of that. Now after that we will discuss about this is about the trip mechanism. Now the various power system. Before going to the different types of the relays, classification of the relays, we can discuss the various power system elements that needs protection. So various power system elements that needs operation, that needs protection. As you know, the power system consists of the alternators, bus bars, transformers, transmission and distribution lines. So I can write alternators, then you will have bus bars, then you will have transformers for the transmission and the distribution lines, that is transformers, and after that transmission lines. transmission lines at various voltage levels. So that is extra high voltage or the low voltage, every level we need that. Cables, induction, and the synchronous motors. Induction and the synchronous motors, reactors, capacitors, capacitors, even instrument and protective CTs and PTs. Instrument and protective CTs and PTs. Then you have control and measuring equipments, etc. So each of these entities, you can say, they needs protection, and you can say that each apparatus has a unique set of operating conditions. That is, each apparatus, if you see, it has a different set of operating conditions. The transmission line is spread geographically. It is geographically spread over a very long distance, and the transformer windings are localized. You have the transformer windings which are at one particular place, so these are localized. So we need the different protection for these two. And while the alternator is a huge rotating mass with the mechanical coupling to the turbine, electrical coupling to the power system, the bus bar present a different scenario, because bus bar is actually simply like that. We have the lines connected that, and we have this protection. Simply we are using the differential protection, taking into consideration the input and the output current, and see the difference. So generally we are using the differential protection for bus bar. So each apparatus needs a different kind of protective system, targeted to its unique set of faults, what are normal operating conditions. So you can say that this makes the field of power system very complex. You can using different schemes for every operators, and that's why the production system is very much complex. However, it's very technically interesting. If you have some interest in that, and definitely it's very interesting. So, however, it is possible to sort out this situation by focusing the power system element one by one and trying to protect by using the different principles, or you can devise your own principles for that. That is possible. However, if you have some concept in the mind, you can easily implement that concept in the protection system. Okay, that characteristic is there. We can see that characteristic is there. So how can explore the possibility of having the equipment that is having this making that relay out of that. That is, relay is nothing but a sensing equipment. So what you can do, you can see the different kind of parameters in that, and if you find out, okay, that parameters has not yet been explored, okay, we can find out that parameter and try to see whether if you devise the protection system based on that parameter, it's perfect or not. So in this way you can have devise your own protection system for that purpose also. Now next is the various principles of protection. I will give you the small overview of the various principles of the protection, and after that we can discuss what are the different types of you can say these relays which are used nowadays from that is historical background of a different type of relays. So next is the various principles of power system protection. So if you see that the most visible effect of the fault is the sudden buildup of current. So the most visible effect of the fault is the buildup of current, sudden buildup of current. So the most visible effect of any fault is the sudden buildup of the current. So overcurrent relay is the most natural principle for that. So the overcurrent relay is the most natural principle of relaying. Now, however, if you see the fault current, this fault current is actually the function of the type of the fault and the source impedance. It is the type of the fault and the source impedance. So this fault current is actually a function of the type of fault and the source impedance. And the source impedance actually depends upon how many generators are there in the system. That is a number of generating units are in the system. We have the generating unit and the impedance, the source impedance of that. So if the generating units are more, in that very case, the source impedance would be more. So it depends upon the number of generating units in service at a given amount of time. It keeps on changing from time to time. Let us suppose that we are not generating from particular source, then it will not be there. So this type of the fault, this source impedance and the type of fault keep on changing from time to time. So you can say that this reach of this overcurrent relay. So we forget to mention what is reach. So I can discuss that. So the reach of this overcurrent relay, it is this reach of this overcurrent relay keeps on changing from fault to fault and time to time. So this reach keeps on changing from fault to fault and from the time to time. The reach of what is the reach of that relay, that we can discuss after this principles of power system protection. I can discuss that reach. So this what happens? This led to the engineers to think about the other principles of protection. Another very natural principle of protection is actually, you can say, the differential protection that I have discussed many times. So next principle of protection is the differential protection. So it is based on the fact that the current entering the protective section must be equal to the current leaving in, and any discrepancy in that between the two indicates the presence of the fault. So if we want to protect any equipment, let us suppose the transformer, generally it is used in the transformer and bus bars and all that. So current entering is measured with the current leaving, and then if any discrepancy is there, then in that very case you can say that the relay coil will trip. If any discrepancy is there, then definitely this relay coil will trip. However, it is used for the system where which are very close to each other. Like if you see this transformer, transmission lines, motors, generators, it can be used. However, we cannot use it in the transmission lines. So it cannot be used in the It cannot be used in the transmission lines. It is impractical to use it because the two ends are very far away. So to get over this problem, a distance relay, we develop a concept for the distance relay. So what is the distance relay? It compares the voltage and the current. It compares the voltage and the current at the same end. That is, let us suppose that we have the transmission line. It compares the voltage and the current. It will take the current from this. It will take the voltage from this. So it compares the voltage and current at the same end and measures the impedance between the relay. That is, it will take P by R. There are various types of distance relays that we can discuss, but the basic concept is that is it compares the voltage and current at the same point, and it measures the impedance between the relay location and the fault point. It measures the impedance. Impedance can be measured by the comparison of this voltage and the current. It means that whenever the fault occurs in the system, then in that very case, there is increase in the current and the decrease in the voltage. So it will be Z will be affected because of that. Because of this, the Z will be affected. It means that suppose we have set a particular value of Z, that is Z set. Then if the fault occurs in the system, then suppose this is Z fault. So Z fault is less than Z set, and as a result, it will detect. So it is based on that principle. And as this impedance, if you see, this impedance is considered to be directly proportional to the distance along the line. It is directly proportional to the distance along the line. So that's why we will have the name as distance relay. So we have the name as the distance relay. Now, one more thing, that in case of doubly fed system, let us suppose that we have the doubly fed system is there, in which we have parallel lines are there, or we have the system in which we are feeding the load from both the ends. So, or we have the parallel lines, and we are feeding the loads for a particular load from both the ends of the system. Then in that very case, what happens? Let us suppose that or in you can say in a ring main system, a fault get fed from both the sides. Let us suppose that we have a fault in particular line. In that very case, the fault occurs in that particular line, and as a result, what happens that let us suppose the power is flowing in this particular direction, and the fault occurs in the system. Here the fault occurs. Then what happens? The fault is also fed by this, and fault is also fed from here. And as a result, there is the opposite direction of the flow of the current. So in order to be selective, the relay must be sensitive to the direction of the flow of the fault current. Let us suppose the fault current is flowing in this, current is flowing in the opposite direction, then definitely we have the logic such that it will trip. So a relay, you can say, it will exhibit such property. So this kind of relays are also known as the directional relays. These are known as the directional relay. So first is, you can say that visible effect of the fault current is the buildup of the current. So we have the overcurrent relay. But the overcurrent relay depends on the type of the fault and the source impedance. Source impedance keeps on changing, and the type of fault also. Sometimes we have a single line to ground fault. Sometimes we have three-phase fault. So it also changes. So reach of this fault changes from time to time, and fault to fault. So one more protection system is the differential protection. It is based on the fact that whatever the input current must be is equals to output, but we have to take the weightage into consideration, that whatever the transformation ratio, and depending upon that what we do, we will devise our CT based on that. So differential protection is used in these are actually used in the places where we have this it is used where we have protection apparatus. It is very near, like transformers, transmission lines, motors, generators, etc. So next is the transmission lines, and the transmission line are separated over a vast area. So we devise one this relay, which is known as the distance relay, which takes into consideration the comparison of the voltage and the current. And we have the set value of the impedance. If the set is less, if it is less than the fault impedance is less than the Z set, then it will trip. There are many types of this distance relays, Moho relay, impedance relay, so that we can discuss. And next is the directional type of relay. So this directional type of relay is actually taken into consideration the direction. So what is the direction of this? You can say, if let us suppose the intended path of the current is in this direction, how this power in this direction, and if it is flowing in this direction, it means that something is feeding the fault is there in the system. So the directional relay for that very purpose, it is also used for the ring main. We can use in the system where we have a doubly fed system. Now, one more thing we left, that internal faults and the external fault. Let us suppose that we have a differential relay. We have this differential relay. Now, faults, as we have already discussed the zones of protection. So let us suppose that we have this is the zone of this differential relay, and zones are created where we have placed the CT. And the faults within the zone, these are known as the internal faults. The faults within that zone, these are known as the internal faults. And faults which are outside this zone, these are known as external faults. Outside the zone, these are known as the external faults. These are known as the external faults. And external faults are also known as the through faults. These external faults are also known as this through faults. So ideally what happens, a relay looking after the protection of the zone should operate only for this internal faults. It will not operate for the external fault. That is, you can say that it will restrain from operating for the external faults. So the farthest point from the relay location, which is still inside the zone, which is known as the reach. That is, from this relay location, the farthest, and let us suppose that we have this, we want to protect this transmission line, and this is the relay is connected. Let us suppose the relay is connected here, and this zone is protected, and the farthest point from the relay location, that is, we want to protect up to this point. So इसको हम इस point और इस point को हम कहते हैं, this is known as the reach point. The farthest point को हम कहेंगे reach point, and distance between this, you can say that this farthest point which is inside the zone. Let us suppose that this, we have this protective system which is protecting, ये इसको protect कर रहा है पूरी transmission line को. So this farthest point को हम कहेंगे reach point. This is the reach point of the relay. और distance, इसके distance को और reach point के distance को हम कहेंगे reach of the relay. It is known as the reach of the relay. Now, next we have the table giving the different type of protection which is used for the different equipments. Like alternator, we have the primary. We are using the non-direction. And we are not using the non-direction relay. We are using this direction relay as the primary protection. We are also using the differential relay. We are also using the distance kind of relay. Then for the bus bar, we are only using the differential relay. ट्रांसफार्मर में भी हम डिफरेंशियल रिले ही यूज करते हैं. ट्रांसमिशन लाइन में हम डिस्टेंस रिले यूज करते हैं मेनली. डायरेक्शनल ओवर करंट रिले भी यूज करते हैं कुछ केसेस में, दैट वी कैन डिस्कस. और नॉन डायरेक्शनल ओवर करंट जब पावर फ्लो डायरेक्शन चेंज करता है तो उसके लिए हम डायरेक्शनल और नॉन डायरेक्शनल ओवर करंट दोनों यूज करते हैं। उसके बाद दिस इंडक्शन मोटर प्राइमरी प्रोटेक्शन के लिए हम दिस नॉन डायरेक्शनल भी यूज करते हैं और डिफरेंशियल प्रोटेक्शन यूज करते हैं। सो दिस इज अबाउट द different type of this protections that has been that is used. So today I forgot to discuss about this discuss everything in Hindi. So let's have a small recap of that. So सबसे पहले हमारे पास CT एंड PT है। CT और PT क्या करते हैं, इंफॉर्मेशन देते हैं प्राइमरी रिले को, जो डिटेक्ट करती है कि फॉल्ट हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है। उसके बाद हम इंफॉर्मेशन यहाँ से रिले से इंफॉर्मेशन मिलती है हमारी ऑक्सिलरी रिले को। अब लेट अस सपोज दैट हम प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं ट्रांसमिशन लाइन को, और ट्रांसमिशन लाइन को जब हम प्रोटेक्ट करते हैं तो सपोज हमारा ये सिस्टम ट्रांसड्यूसर्स हैं CT और PT। तो सिस्टम ट्रांसड्यूसर्स हमारी इंफॉर्मेशन दे रहे हैं रिले को, दिस इज द करंट कॉइल ऑफ द रिले, दिस इज द करंट कॉइल ऑफ द रिले, and this second one is the pressure coil of the relay, that is information that is coming from this voltage coil, and then we will have, अब ये जो सर्किट है इसको हम कहते हैं पावर सर्किट। अब ये रिले जो है ये सिग्नल देती है हमारी ऑक्सिलरी रिले को। तो ऑक्सिलरी रिले हमारा एक्चुअली ये हमें हमारे इस रिले से क्या होता है कि हमारे नॉर्मली ओपन कॉन्टेक्ट्स होते हैं वो क्लोज्ड हो जाते हैं, और जब क्लोज हो जाते हैं तो हमारी जो ऑक्सिलरी रिले है, लेट अस सपोज द 86, देन इट स्टार्ट्स ऑपरेटिंग। सो ये ऑपरेट करना शुरू हो जाती है। तो ये क्या करती है, इन कॉन्टेक्ट्स को, नॉर्मली ओपन कॉन्टेक्ट्स को क्लोज कर देती है और वो ट्रिप कॉइल ऑफ सर्किट ब्रेकर की तरफ चला जाते हैं। इससे क्या होता है, सर्किट ब्रेकर ऑपरेट कर जाता है। दिस इज द एक्चुअली द ट्रिपिंग मैकेनिज्म। सो दैट ट्रिपिंग मैकेनिज्म आई विल आल्सो दिस एक्सप्लेन्ड विद दिस डायग्राम से मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया है। जैसे CT और PT हैं हमारे, यहाँ से इंफॉर्मेशन रिले को जाती है, एंड ट्रिप आउटपुट, दिस इज द नॉर्मली ओपन कॉन्टेक्ट्स। और उसके बाद जब भी सिग्नल मिलता है तो ट्रिप, ये नॉर्मली ओपन जो है वो क्लोज हो जाते हैं और ट्रिप कॉइल इसको एनर्जाइज कर देती है और ये यहाँ से रिमूव हो जाता है। नॉर्मली क्लोज कॉन्टैक्ट जो है वो रिमूव हो जाते हैं और हमारा सर्किट ब्रेकर ऑपरेट करना शुरू कर देता है। Now next, various power system elements that needs protection, like we discussed that alternators, busbar, transformer, transmission lines, cables, induction and synchronous motors, reactors, capacitors, instrument and protective CTs and PTs, control and measuring equipment, etc. So these all the maximum of the you can say the all of the operators of the power system, it needs protection. However, it differs that it depending upon that what is the whether they are localized or not, so वो डिपेंड करता है। ठीक है, उसके बाद प्रिंसिपल पावर सिस्टम प्रोटेक्शन के डिफरेंट प्रिंसिपल्स हैं। जैसे मेन ऑब्वियस प्रिंसिपल है कि हम जब भी फॉल्ट होता है तो हमारा बिल्डअप ऑफ करंट हो जाता है, सो वी आर यूजिंग द ओवर करंट रिले फॉर दैट, एंड द ओवर करंट रिले वो डिपेंड करती है टाइप ऑफ फॉल्ट और सोर्स इम्पीडेंस से। सो एज ए रिजल्ट द रीच जो है रिले की वो वेरी करती है। So as a result, we're using one more protection that is known as the differential protection हम use करते हैं। उसमें differential protection is based on the fact that whatever is coming to that apparatus and going, so if there is a much difference between these two, then it will give the signal to the relay and relay will operate. और उसके बाद differential के बाद हम use करते हैं distance relay भी use करते हैं transmission lines के लिए, क्योंकि differential protection can be used in the apparatus which are very near. However, for the transmission line हम यूज करते हैं डिस्टेंस रिले, एंड ट्रांसमिशन लाइन क्या करते हैं, हम वोल्टेज और इसमें ट्रांसमिशन लाइन में हर वोल्टेज और करंट को कंपेयर करते हैं और Z निकालते हैं। उसके बाद Z सेट से उसकी वैल्यू को कंपेयर करते हैं। इफ इट इज लेस देन दैट, देन डेफिनेटली वो ट्रिप करेगा। उसके बाद है हमारा डायरेक्शनल रिले। डायरेक्शनल रिले हमारा वहाँ पे यूज होता है, यहाँ पे सपोज डबली फेड सिस्टम है, यहाँ सपोज हमारा रिंग मेन सिस्टम है, यहाँ पे सपोज हमारा उल्टी तरफ डायरेक्शन ऑफ पावर आ रही है, तो इसका मतलब है कि कुछ फॉल्ट हुआ है। सो इन दैट वेरी केस वी आर यूजिंग द डायरेक्शन रिले। Now after that we discuss the reach point. The reach point is the this farthest point from the relay to this up to which we are protecting the system, and the reach of the relay from this from the relay to that reach point, this is known as actually the reach of the relay. And after that we discuss the a table of different protection schemes that are used. Now, different protection schemes that are used, that is for this, we are using for alternator, we are using then directional and the differential distance relay. For bus bar, we are using differential transformer, differential transmission line, we are using non-directional, directional, and distance. And for large induction motor, we are using non-directional and differential. So this is about this lecture, and next time we will discuss about this. We will discuss this different types of relays. So is it okay? Any questions related to that?